Hey everyone, welcome back to another course. As you can see, today we are going to build this application. Okay, and this is the first live stream. So, the purpose of this particular live stream is to basically build this single page where we are going to build our authentication. That means our login and sign up form. So, let me just show you that over here we are going to create this kind of UI where we'll see a drop down and we can basically see our login and sign up screen. Then this is actually going to be a hotel booking website. Okay, and this project will be completed using just MERN stack. For the application, styling part, we are going to use Tailwind CSS. So this is going to be completely responsive. You don't have to worry about any of those things. I'm going to teach you everything in detail. Okay, so the first step is to basically get started by scaffolding our application. So I'm going to use White.js for that. So we need to go to this website called whitejs.dev. Okay. And here you'll see this button which says get started. After clicking on it, on this page, you need to just scroll down a little bit. And when you find this section which says scaffolding your first white project, copy this command which says npm create white at the rate latest. After you have done this, you can open up your terminal. Okay, since I'm working on Windows, okay, so I have already opened up my terminal. You can also do the same thing even if you are working on Mac OS or Linux. Okay, all of the operating systems have their own terminal. After you have done that, I would request you to navigate to the directory where you want to create your project. What I mean is, if you want to create your project in, let's say, desktop or any other given folder, you should navigate to that. Okay, so here I am currently inside my documents directory. You can see. So if I just type pwd, you can see the current path, which is documents. Okay, now I want to paste the command that I copied from the website of White.js. And after pasting it, we should hit enter. Okay, then we'll be prompted with few questions. Okay, like the project name. So I'm just going to React. So I'm going to choose React and then JavaScript. After this is done, you can see now we have got this instruction to basically run these three commands. So we need to do exactly the same. What I'm going to do is, first of all, let's navigate inside this application. So we have to write cd home away app. Okay. After that is done, we need to follow the second command, which is npm install. So let's run this. This is going to basically install all of the dependencies that are needed to build our project. Okay, to start the development server basically. After this step is done, we are going to see how to view this application in the development mode using this third command. So we have to wait for these packages to get installed. And in the meantime, let me tell you, if you get any questions during this whole stream, you can always ask it in the comment chat section. I'm actually watching it and I'll answer it. Okay. So you can ask all of your questions. Let me also tell you that you can join our Discord server. Link is already given in the channel page and you can interact with me directly over there. Now, since you can see our packages are installed, so we are going to now follow with the second step, which is running the development server. So here I'm just going to write npm run dev. After you run this, you're going to see a message like this, which is going to say, a message like this, local, and then the port where your application is running. So you can see our application is running on localhost 5174. So we need to go to our browser, and here I'll just write localhost colon 5174 and hit enter. Then you're going to see this scaffolded application. Okay, right now you can see a simple counter application. If you click on this button, the counter is going to increase. So this is a sample application. We don't want to basically keep it that way. So what I'm going to do now, we need to press Control and C. Okay, we're going to basically close our development server. After we closed our development server, we can write code space and then dot. This is going to open up our code editor. Okay, that means VS Code. I'm using VS Code for this particular project. You can use any IDE or editor of your choice. Let me also zoom in a little bit. So this is the place where we need to basically work on our application. Now let me tell you that you don't have to be worried about other files except the source. Okay, we are going to spend most of our time developing this application, and we'll be making all of the changes inside the source directory. So First of all, we need to go inside this app.jsx. Okay, then copy everything that is pre-written and just remove it. Okay, it's as simple as that. After you have done this, you just need to create a React functional component. So I have an extension already installed, so I can just write RFC and it is going to, create this React functional component. Let me tell you about this extension. Here you can see I have this ES7 plus React Redux React Native snippets. Okay, so I can basically use those snippets to uh, save some time. Okay, and I also have I think some other extensions. Let me just show you for the React. Yeah, this simple React snippets. You should install it. It's, you can see that it has got installation in millions, okay, and it's also like rated very high. So it's going to speed up your development process. I recommend you that you install this extension, React Simple Snippets, and also this one that I showed you, okay, ES7 plus React Redux snippets. So after that is done, I hope you are following up with me till this point, okay. We have just now created a very simple React functional component, which is just going to display this simple text app on our website. So if we just go back and I'm going to just refresh this application. Actually, it is stopped because we stopped our server over here. So so what I'm going to do, I'm going to just clear up my terminal. So we can write clear, okay, and hit enter. This is going to clear our terminal. Now we can focus again, okay, and here I'm going to again start my development server by running this command npm run dev. Okay, after this is done, we'll again get our application preview on localhost 5174. So I can again go back and refresh my application. When I do this, you can see right now we have got this app text written over here. Okay, and let me just also make few more changes inside our application. So you need to go to this file explorer again, and we don't need this app.css, so I'm just going to delete it. Okay, delete this file app.css, and inside our main.jsx you can see we are importing this index.css file. I'm going to also remove that. Okay, so let's also delete this other css file which is index.left with only three things: app.jsx component, main.jsx, and assets folder. You need to keep these as it is. Okay, now if I just go back, then you can see app is written over here. Now the font has changed because we removed the styling and all. So this is a point from where we can start implementing our own styling. Okay, so first step is to install Tailwind CSS, and now I'm going to show you how to install Tailwind CSS. First step is just visit the website of Tailwind CSS. Okay, then click on the Get Started button. Here you will be redirected to the installation page. Now you can see we have got lots of options, like we can have it installed in our application using different ways. But what I want is this framework guides. Okay, since we are using White.js, so I'm going to select this option. And again here you can see the three different libraries that are, you can basically create your application in any of these. But right now we are using React, so I'm going to follow these steps. You can read what is written in the first step. It says creating your project. Now we have already done this step, so I'm going to skip this first one. You can already see that what we are going to basically do in the first step, creating our project, okay, using this npm create white at latest command. Then we need to navigate inside our project. That is already done. So we can move safely to the step number 2, which is installing Tailwind CSS. So you need to basically copy this command which says npm install -t and then the name of these three libraries. After copying it, we are going to go back to our terminal. Okay, you can also do one more thing. Let's go back to our VS Code. Here I'm just going to pull up my terminal. Okay, inbuilt terminal inside VS Code. Then here I'm just going to paste the command that we copied, which is npm install -t and then these three libraries. Let me tell you what is this -t. Here, if you open up this file package.json inside your project, then you will be able to see right now that we have two things: dependencies and dev dependencies. Okay, now please notice that after we hit enter, this dev dependencies list will be updated. Okay, these three names will appear. So I'm going to hit enter, and let's wait and see for ourselves that these dependencies will get added to this list. Okay, so we have to wait for a few seconds. Okay, so now you can see that the installation is successful. And here we have Tailwind CSS, Post CSS, and also our auto prefixer. So these are the dependencies that will be needed during the development phase. That means when we have not, deployed our application and we are still making changes to the application, then these packages will be needed. So that is why there is this category. Okay, two categories: dependencies and dev dependencies. These dependencies will remain even after the app is compiled and deployed, but these dev dependencies will be dropped after the development phase is over and we are deploying our application. Okay, so I'm going to show you everything. Okay, so don't worry about that, you'll get full knowledge on this particular channel. And here the next step is, let's just go back to our browser and follow this next command, which is npx tailwind css init-p. This means we want to initialize tailwind css setup. Okay, right now I want you to take a closer look at all of the files and folders that we have got. Okay, you can see right now what files and folders we have. Now I'm just going to paste the command, and after hitting enter I'll ask you to take a look over here again. Okay, so this command is running. Let's wait. Yeah, so just now we saw that these files were added: tailwind config.js and post config.js. And in our terminal we got the message that this uh, the command that we run, it created tailwind css config file and also post css config file. Okay, and I can already see that over here. So these are the two configuration files for tailwind css. Now as a next step we need to go back to the website again. Okay, and in the third step it says that you need to configure your template paths. So we need to actually copy this highlighted part which says content. Okay, it's an array containing paths. So I'm just going to copy it. Then we need to go inside this file called tailwind config.js. And here you can see by default we have got this content key, which is basically mapping to an empty array. I'm going to replace it with the content that we copied. Okay. Now we have completed the third step as well. Next, we need to follow this fourth step, which is adding these tailwind directives to our global CSS. Okay. So you need to copy all these three directives. After you've done that, just go back to your code base. Here right now I'm just going to navigate inside my source, and we are going to create a new file with the name of global.css. Now as the name suggests, it's going to contain the global CSS, okay, that we need inside our application. And paste these three directives over here. And since we have created a new css file, so we need to basically import it inside our root of the application. So I'm inside my main.jsx, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to just write an import statement, import, and then dot slash global dot css. Please make sure that you don't do any spelling mistake, otherwise it's not going to work. Okay, after following this fourth step, then the next step is to just run our application. It's you can see it's telling us to run our application in development mode. So we can do that. Let's just see, this is the terminal. Our application is already running, so we don't need to repeat that step. Okay, after we made the changes to this main.jsx file in the last step, the page was reloaded. So we can just go back over here to our application preview, and we can see that this application has got all the changes. But how do we confirm that? Let me tell you that we can now start using Tailwind CSS utility classes. So I don't want to overwhelm you with the concepts, okay, or about the classes. So I'm going to start very small. Okay, so what I want to do is I will go back to this app.jsx. Let's also close all of the open editors. Okay, I'm also going to collapse all these files. Let's also, collapse this terminal. Now I want you to focus only on this particular file app.jsx. What you see over here is just a simple text written app. Okay, and I'll be just writing a class name. So what happens in Tailwind CSS, you can give text color by using this property text dash, and then there is a color called primary. So I can just write it like this. Okay, actually, it's not default, so I want to use other color, like let's say red, text red 600. And now if I just go back to my preview of the application, okay, let's refresh it. This is localhost 5174. Let me just confirm over here. I'm going to just restart my application after making all the changes. Yes, so now it's running on localhost 5174. Yeah, after we refreshed, you can see the app color changed. Okay, the text color actually changed. So that means the Tailwind CSS setup is successful, and we are able to now use Tailwind CSS utility classes. Okay, and as a next step, I want to do the project setup. So let's discuss the how our application is going to be structured. Okay, so right now what you are seeing is called search page, where you can search for the properties. Okay, but our application is also going to have the admin panel as well as the user dashboard. So I'm now going to go back to my code editor. Okay, and here we can start building the first page, which is our search page. Okay, so let's just remove this div which contains the app text. Okay, after this I'm going to start by building our header part. So what I mean by header is I want to build this section which contains the logo, this section which contains the date picker for check-in checkout, and also this section for basically displaying the user image when the user is logged in, and if the user is not logged in, we are going to present them with these two options. Okay, so I want to start by building this header part, and what we have to do inside this div, just going to start by adding some class name. Okay, and please pay attention. I'm going to explain like use case of every class. Okay, and you don't need to basically learn it. Like remember every class. You'll when you practice it, you'll learn it automatically. Okay, and you will be habitual of it. So before starting that, let me also tell you about one more extension that I want you to install. This is going to make your life easy while developing application using Tailwind CSS. So here I have an extension. Let me just check for it. Yeah, this is the one that I'm talking about, Tailwind CSS IntelliSense. Okay, it is developed by tailwindcss.com itself. So make sure you are installing the correct one. Okay, it has got lots of reviews and lots of installation. It's very useful. Okay, so please make sure you install it. You just need to search for it over here inside the search box and install. Okay, after that is done, what we are going to do while writing class names, it's going to help us. Like let's say p dash, I want to set the padding. Okay, it's going to suggest me all the values that it has got by default. Okay, that means these are the default values that Tailwind CSS has already created for us. Okay, so I'm just going to use this IntelliSense all throughout the development phase of this application. Okay, so now we can start building this first page. Okay, from the header part. As you can see, what we want to do over here is we want to place three things: this logo and this search section and this thing in a row. Now, if you know CSS just a little bit, you must understand that we can create it using flexbox. Okay, because flexbox can have this direction property. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this div into a flexbox. So we can just use this flex class, which means setting the display to flex. And this is one of the advantages of the libraries that I asked you to install, which means it tells you when you hover over this class name, it will tell you what rules are going to be applied because of this class. Okay. So now we have declared this div as flex. Next step is I want to create a column. Okay. Why I am creating a column? Because you can see that on this page we are going to put this header and the bottom section inside a column. That is why we are doing this. Okay, so now we have a flex box which is and its direction is set to column. Okay, there is another property called space, and then you can set the direction and the value. Okay, this means this flex which is going to have multiple childrens. Okay, these childrens will have some spacing between them. Okay, and you can just hover over it and see that 8 pixel space is going to be provided. Now Tailwind CSS IntelliSense extension is already suggesting me all the different values that are possible. So right now I just want to go ahead with this too. Okay, then I'm going to add two comments. First is header. I want to create a header. Then I want to create a category section. What I mean by category, let me just explain you. You see, inside this website, we have got this section, which is going to allow us to choose the type of property that we want to book. Okay, so this is the category section. It's going to have this horizontal scroll, but you can see that this scroll is going to be hidden. We are going to use a third-party library to basically implement that feature. But for now, I just wanted to let you know that inside the column, we are going to have our header, then this category section, and then all the properties listing. Okay. So after category, we are going to build our properties listing. Okay. This is what we are going to have in the third place. Now we can, after we have broken down all of the like the complete page into simple parts, we can now focus all of our attention on building just the header part. Okay. So I would like to create another folder inside source. Okay. I'm going to call it sections. Now inside the sections, I'm going to create another folder. It will be called search. Okay. Search means we are creating sections for the search page. Now, as I told you, search page is going to consist of three sections. The first is header.jsx. Okay. This is the first component that we want. Second is category.jsx. Okay, and the third one, which is our listing.jsx. Okay, that means property listing. After we created all these three components, I can go inside header.jsx and I'll write rfc, which means I'm creating a react functional component. This is just the boilerplate code. Okay, then before basically writing anything inside this file, okay, I'll just go back to my app.jsx and I'll import that header over here. So let's use the header. You can see it's going to be imported from sections slash search slash header. So after I pressed on that, suggestion, you can see on line number 2, it is correctly imported. You must also make sure that you are doing the imports correctly. Okay, otherwise you're going to get an error. So inside header.jsx, now we can focus on building this row. Okay, you can see this row is going to contain the logo, this input section, and this section for user profile. So again, back to my code base, I want to create a row. Okay, so I'm going to give some class names over here. Let me just select this div and I'll give it class name of flex. Flex means I have set it display to flex. Then I want a row, so I'm going to set flex row. Okay, after this, we can just basically start building the logo part first of all. Okay, so you can see what this logo part contains, just an icon along with some text. Okay, and let me tell you that for all the icons that we'll be using, we are going to use this library called react icons. So we need to search for react icons on Google. Okay, actually this is the website reacticons.github.io, but what I would like to show you is I want to just do a simple Google search react icons and you'll see this npm package. First of all, we need to get it installed. Please make sure that you are installing the correct package. Okay, it has this huge weekly downloads and it's the standard package that we are going to use. You need to copy the command. After that, just go back to your code base. Okay, pull up your terminal. Inside the terminal, I'm going to execute the command npm I react dash icons. Okay, let's wait for this package to be installed, but in the meantime we can go back to our browser. Okay, and you can see this is the github repo. I don't want to basically visit that, so I'm just going to get to its website directly, which is reacticons.github.io. Okay, now here I want to basically search for the you can see that they have got lots of icons. Okay, so I want to just search for home. So after I typed home, you can see there are lots of options. If you just click on any icon, you'll see how to implement it inside your application. Just write the import like this, okay, and use the icon anywhere inside your JSX with this syntax. Okay, so I think this is pretty straightforward. Okay, and let me tell you that for each and every icon that we are going to use, I'm not going to come every time and do a search and show you because I have already done that. So I'm just going to tell you the name. Okay, and if you want, while you are developing the application, you can use any different icons that you prefer. Okay, I have already shown you how to do it. Now back to our website. Right now you see that we have just a blank page. So inside this div, I want to create another div which is going to contain icon along with text. Okay, let's first get the icon, and icon name is io home. Before that, let me also confirm that this package was installed correctly. So inside our package.json, you can see we have got React as icons version 530. So yes, this is installed correctly. Now, when I'm writing it, you can see my editor is suggesting me to basically import it from React icons less, IO5. So I have done that. And if I just go back, then you can see at the top, I can see an icon. Let me also do one more thing. I'm going to just put my VS Code and the browser side by side. Let me close the Explorer and also this terminal so we can, develop the application and also see the preview at the same time. So the first thing I want over here is I want to basically set a different size for this icon. So let me just correct it. Yeah, I'm going to give it this size prop. I'm going to set the size to 24. Let's also give it some class name so that we can style it appropriately. And the color I want over here is the primary color. But let me tell you that if you go back to the Tailwind CSS website and search for, click on this hamburger menu, here we can see that they have got this customization section. Inside this, they have colors. Okay. So these are the default color palettes that comes built in along with Tailwind CSS. Okay. And we can use any of these colors. You can see each color has got lots of shades. So let me show you that. Let's say you want to use this rose color. What you have to do is just type text, okay, dash, okay, then rose, that is the color name, and then again dash, and you can select any of the shades. Okay, so let's say we want to use this darker shade 700. After doing this, you can also see its preview. Okay, that it's basically showing us which color is going to be implemented. That is coming because of the IntelliSense extension that we installed. Okay, now I can just go back and confirm, yeah, the icon color is changed, so that means it's working. Okay, and after that, actually I want to use a different color, so that means we need to customize our theme at this point. And in order to customize theme, I'm going to go back to my file called tailwind config.js. Okay, and let me tell you that this block where it's written theme extend, you can just write your own theme. Okay, that means declare your own color or your own breakpoints and all that stuff. I have already written this configuration for you in advance. So I'm going to share this link, github.com/codingmonk-yt/home away. This will be given to you in the description box. You can check it out. When you visit this link, you will find this README file. And inside this README file, the first section says Tailwind configuration. This is the configuration that I want you to copy. But I'm also going to explain you what is happening over here. So after copying this block of code, you just need to basically remove the already pre-written Tailwind config and paste the new one. Now let's understand what we just copied and pasted. Okay. So first of all, I need you to go back to the Tailwind configuration, Tailwind CSS website. And inside this customization, you can see we have lots of options. Like we can customize the colors, screens means the breakpoints. Okay, like for different screen sizes based on the breakpoint, like tablet, mobile, laptop, desktop, or extra large screens. Then we also have this spacing that we can customize. Okay, so let's just talk about the colors at first. You see, we have got a predefined palette, but what I have done over here, just focus on this extend colors section. We have defined few colors, and we can now use these names. Like let's say primary. When I write primary, it will be this you know royal blue color, 3C50E0. Okay, but uh, here if I just go back and instead of writing this text row 700, if I write text dash and then primary, you can see it's going to be this blue color from our theme. So after writing this, if I just go back to the preview, then you can see now the color of the icon has changed. So this means what we have done over here is we just introduced some of our own colors. Okay, these are all the colors that we are going to need inside this application. Then we have also introduced some font sizes, which are our own custom font sizes. These are not, coming built in with Tailwind CSS. We have defined it for our own purpose. So let me also give you an idea about this. Let's take the example of this title MD. MD means medium. Okay, LG means large. I think that is already clear. And Here you can see there are two values inside the array. Okay, the first one represents the font size, which is 24 pixels in this case, and this is the line height. So whenever we want to create a responsive application, we must have the text respond according to the screen size. So that is why we have created these different sizes, and for each size we have a defined value of font size along with the line height. Similarly, we have spacing values. Now, you might ask where we are going to use these spacing values. So the answer is simple. Whenever you put some content on the screen or you create a website or web application, you don't want the content to be, like sticking to each other. We want some consistent spacing between the items. That is why we have already predefined these things, and you can see everything is in RAM. That means it's going to respond to the screen size. Okay, it's not absolute value. Similar to spacing, we have the other property defined over here, which is called max width. We are again going to use it inside our classes. Then max height, min height, z index. You can see these are the properties from CSS that we use in order to build our application. Style it in a given way, and we have defined some presets, and we can now use these to create any kind of design. Okay, this is our custom theme, so you can take a look at this file, and nothing is special about it. It's all same as before. We have just made changes to this theme section. Earlier it was looking like this, now we have just placed our own theme. Okay, we have also this font family. Okay, so I'm going to tell you about customizing the font family a little bit later, but for now you can understand that we are going to do it inside our Tailwind configuration. Okay, then we also have some default screen sizes that comes built in with Tailwind CSS. But here, along with the default screen sizes, we are also going to basically use these three extra screen sizes of our own. So that is, a brief about this Tailwind configuration that we are going to use. Now we can again shift our attention to this header.jsx. Here you can see we have got the icon. Now after this icon, I want to add the text that I told you, and for that we are going to again make use of a div. So here I'm just going to write home away. That is our application's name. You can see the name appeared over here, and I want these two things to be in a row. Okay, that means in the same horizontal line. So for that I can go to the parent, and over here I can just write some class name. I'm going to make it flex and then flex row. Okay, that means now it's a flex container with direction property set to row. Let's also make the align items property to center. So for that we need to write items center. When you write this property, it's going to apply this styling rule, align item center. Okay, then you can see right now there is no space between this icon and the text. So in order to put some spacing between them, we can use this property space, and since we want a space in x direction, so I'm going to write x means horizontal, y means vertical. Okay, then the value, which is 2. Now you can see after we return this rule, there is some spacing between these two things. Let's now focus on customizing this home away. Okay, so again we need to make use of class names. First of all, I wanted to have font semi bold. Now what does this mean, font semi bold? This means font weight. We have set it the font weight to 600. Now you can see it's looking different from before because we changed the font weight. Let's also increase its size. Right now it's text MD by default, which means medium size. I want to make it extra large, so I'll use it this text XL. Now you can also see the text size increased. Okay, then I also want it to have a different color, that is the primary color from our theme. So I'm going to write text dash primary. Okay, let me just correct it. Text dash primary. Yeah, this thing. So now you can see the text color change to blue. Okay, let me just take a quick pause. I'll take a look if there are any questions in the chat section. Okay, so there are no questions. I don't know if you have any doubt or not. You have to just ask it. I'm going to check it, after every 5-10 minutes. So you can just post your questions in the chat section. I'll reply to them. And let's continue with this one. Just to make sure that you are able to see everything clearly, I'm just going to increase its size. And let me also word wrap it. Okay. So now there is one more thing that I want to do. Instead of defining it as a flex row, this parent, I want to make it into a grid. Okay, so I'm going to write grid. Okay, and since you can see we want three things in a row, that means the logo section, the search section, and the profile. So I'm going to create grid calls to 3. This means 3 sections of equal width. Okay, this is what I mean. After setting this, we can also add some padding, because right now you can see the content is totally sticking on the top and on the left side. So we want to add some padding over there, and let me tell you that you can just add padding like this, P5, which means padding from both, like all the directions, top, bottom, left, right. But let's say you want to customize the padding from X direction and Y direction, that means horizontally and vertically, then you can do that. You just need to write px, and let's say we want to use this 6 value. 6 means you can just hover over it and see it is going to be this 24 pixel, okay, 1.5 ram. Similarly, you can give some padding in the y direction, so we can write py6. This means from the vertical side, top and bottom. I hope this is clear. Now I also want to put a border at the bottom side, so for that I need to write border. Okay, if I write just border, then you can see the border is present from all the 4 corners. Okay, that means from all the 4 sides. But I want the border only at the bottom side, so I can write dash and then B. This means border only at the bottom. I hope you understand this. Then, in order to change the color of the border, we can just write the border property and then the color name. So let's say I want the primary color, so I can write border dash primary, and now you can see the border color is changed to blue color, which is our primary color. Similarly, inside our this theme that we defined, actually I placed a color for the border especially, and we call it stroke. Okay, so this stroke color is what we are going to use for borders everywhere inside our application. So now you understand what we are going to write over here, border dash stroke. Okay, this is going to look way better. Now after writing this, you can see it's a very light gray color, which is looking very nice. So this is what we have built till now. So the first section is complete. We have created this home away section, but I want to make just one change over here, and that is I want to use the color of Airbnb. So I'm going to search for Airbnb hex color code. Okay, this means I just want that pink type of color which Airbnb uses. So you can just search for it on Google, and this is the hex color that I want to use. So I'm just going to copy it from this place. Let's go back to our Tailwind config.js, and please notice the change over here. Right now everything is blue, this icon along with the text. I'm going to change the primary color hex code. Okay, and now you can see our application is updated immediately. So that is what we get. Okay, as a next step, I'm going to now put this VS code and my preview in full screen mode so that we can see it better. The next step is to create this section where we have our check-in and check-out. Okay, so let's now focus on this thing. First of all, please observe it for few seconds. Take a look at it, that it is going to have curve from both the sides. Okay, of like a very bigger border radius. It's also going to have this shadow effect. Then we also have padding inside it. So these are some properties from the observation that we're going to put on the div. Okay, let me go back. Yeah, so this is our header file, and you can see inside grid we have already created the first grid item. Okay, now we want to create the second, which is our search section. So what we need to do, we need to again take our div, and let's start styling it. The class names that I'm going to give over here, they are we have already seen it, that we want to give some padding. So let's give padding in the X direction. I'm going to give it padding of 4 in X and padding of 4 in Y direction. You can also write the shorthand property just p dash 4. That will mean padding of 4 from left, right, top, bottom. Okay, then we want border. Okay, so I'm going to write border, and the border color should be border stroke. So let's write border stroke. Then I want the roundedness. Uh, Let me just show you that when you want the border radius property, you have to use this class rounded. Okay. Then there are many options that you can choose: a small border radius, medium, large. But if you want to, make a complete circle on both the sides, then you can use this rounded full. It is going to set this border radius to a very high value. Okay, you can see it's going to set the border radius value to 9999 pixels. Okay, so let's see what we get on our screen uh, over here inside the preview. You can see right now we just got a box, and it has got this border with color of border stroke, and right now we are missing this property called box shadow. Okay, so in order to provide some shadow, we are going to use this class called shadow. Okay, so there is a class called shadow inside Tailwind CSS, and the shadow value can be anything. You can see all the options written over here. I want just shadow dash 2. Okay, you can hover over it and see what it's going to apply. Basically, just read this first line. It's going to give it this color. Okay, this color in RGB. Okay, and also these are the different values in the X, Y, and Z direction. Now after that is done, we can focus on building the inner side, which means placing the first let's start by placing this search button, which we can click at the end after filling these two fields. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave the comment that we have to place check-in input. After that, we need to place the checkout input, and at the third place, we want to create the submit button. Now, I want to leave this check-in and checkout after we create this submit button. So let's focus on creating the button first of all. So let's just create button with a div. Okay, inside div, we are going to need an icon. Why we are going to need an icon? Because you can see already that we have this search icon. So I have already search for this search icon. You can just go to React Icons website and do this search. Here you can choose any icon that you want to use. I would like to use this one, CI search. So I can just go back to my code base, and inside this div I can write CI search, and hopefully, yeah, my editor is suggesting me to auto import it from React icon slash CI. So I have done that. After that, let's just set its size. Here I want to set its size to 28. Then we need to add some classes to this div in order to make the background, that primary color. And also we want a complete circle. We also want some padding. So all those kinds of properties are going to be attained using some classes. Okay, you can see it has got the primary color. The icon color is white, but if you take a look at the preview, then right now the icon color is black. So let's customize all these properties. Okay, so here inside this div, I'm going to add some class name. First of all, I want the background color to be primary, so I'm going to write bg dash primary. I hope you get how to set the background color at this point. Okay, let's also add some padding. Okay, in order to make the text color white, when we set text color, this actually means you can read the property color. Whenever we want to set the color of something, we just use this text dash and then the color name. Okay, this is how we do it in Tailwind CSS. Now if you just go back and take a look, right now it's looking like this. Okay, actually it's taking all of the width, okay, up which is available. So we can just do one thing, w max width, and I'm going to set it to fit. This means take only as much width as you need, okay, according to the content. Then in order to make it rounded, okay, you can see right now it's taking only the width that is necessary, but it's not looking like a circle. In order to make it circular, we can just provide it this rounded full class. Okay, but please note that it's only going to be appear as a circle when the height and width is same. Okay, and we add this rounded full. Otherwise, it's going to look like an oval. So right now you can see this button is created just like we wanted. Let me also show you how to add some effects on this button. Right now, when we are hovering over it, we cannot see anything. So what I would like to do is, instead of using div, I will use button element over here. So let's just replace div with button. Okay, and also I would like to add, fade this background color a little bit when we hover over this. So we can just use this hover like this and then colon. Then we can just write a property that we want when the hover happens. So BG opacity 80. I want to set the background opacity to 80%. Earlier, by default, it's always, 100%. But when we hover over it, now we are going to see the button faded slightly. Yes, you can see it, right? Now, we want to focus on creating the date input. And you can see this is how our date input is going to look like. And you might be wondering how we are going to create it. So let me tell you that this is not some custom, calendar. we are going to use a third party library which is called flat picker. So you can search for flat picker, and yeah, so on this npmjs.com you can find this package called flat picker. This is what we want to use inside our application. Okay, and in order to basically create this kind of date picker, I will create a separate component. Okay, since I don't want to add too much code inside just one file, so we are going to break it into smaller components. Let's go back to our source folder, and inside this source I'm going to create a new folder. Let's call it components. Now inside this components I'm going to create uh, a new component called date picker. Okay, date picker.jsx, you can call it anything like custom date picker. Okay, it depends on you. So after creating this, I want to start building this component from the scratch. So I'm just going to create a boilerplate functional code, sorry, React functional component like this. Okay, you can see it's just a functional component returning a div which says date picker. Now I'll use this date picker inside my header where I have written check in and check out. So let me just write date picker, and you can see it will be imported from component slash date picker. So let's do that thing. And also we need the date picker for checkout. We don't I'm not going to worry about customizing this date picker for now, because one is going to be used as a check-in and the other will be for checkout. But we can do the customization part later after we get the calendar to display correctly. So what we need to do inside this date picker, first of all we should get the library installed. So here I'm just going to write inside my terminal npm I and then flat picker. Okay, please make sure that this picker doesn't has e. Okay, so make sure you are not doing any spelling mistake and install this library correctly. Okay, hit the enter button. Now I want you to make some changes inside main.jsx. So let's just go inside our main.jsx file, and what we are going to do, we are going to import the css file from flat picker. So we need to write this line. Let me just show you. Import, and then I'm just going to paste over here flat picker slash dist. Okay, and then this flat picker dot min dot css. You can just search for this library over here on npm.js, right? Flat picker. Okay, this is the library that we want. Let it appear here. So this is the one that I'm talking about. Okay, and just install it using this command. And if you just scroll down a little bit, you can find the documentation here. This is the documentation link. So click on it, and over here you can see inside the getting started that you can either install it like this, okay, or use it like this. So we are going to use this method. We are going to import it like this. Okay, and we also need to import the css file so that the calendar will be styled appropriately. So I have already shown you how to do this thing. Okay, now back inside our date picker, I want to now start creating the component. Okay, so first of all we need to create an instance of date picker. So here I'm going to make use of use effect. Use effect is going to basically trigger this callback that we are going to create right now when this component is mounted. Okay, so when this component is mounted, I want to use this library that we just installed in order to create a date picker instance. Let's see how that is going to happen. We are going to call this flat picker. Okay, it's going to be coming from flat picker library. We need to call it. Okay, now inside this we are going to pass the class name. Okay, form dash date picker. Now here actually you can pass anything, but I would recommend you to use the same string that I have written, because this is the name of the class that we are going to implement on one of our div where we want this calendar functionality. So it's going to basically go through our DOM tree. It's going to check for this particular any element which contains this class, and then it will mount the calendar on that thing. Okay, so that is why we need it over here. Then we need to pass some configuration as the second option. So create this curly bracket after a comma. And over here, we need to provide few things. Also make sure that flat picker is imported correctly as you see inside my file on line number 1. So we need to, select the mode. Flat picker can be used to create any type of date picker like multiple dates, range, single, or time. Here I want to create single for now, but since we are taking the input like uh, you know check in and check out, so we can also use range, but for now I'm going to just teach you the single. Okay, so we have selected single. Don't make any spelling mistake. It has to be one of the four options that I showed you. Okay, then static. I want to create a static calendar, so I'm going to set it to true. Then month selector type, how we are going to select the month, it's also going to be static. Okay, you can just let me show you one thing. If you when your cursor is inside this double quote or single quote, and if you press control and spacebar, you will see all the available options. Like here you can either select drop down or static, it's up to you. I just want to select static. If you want to, if you're curious what is going to happen if I select drop down, then you can do it and you'll see the changes in your UI. So I would recommend you make some changes and play with it. Okay, and let me know in the comment section, or you can also join Discord if you get stuck anywhere. Then let's also define the date format. So what I want inside date format is this M, J, and year. Okay, so that means I want the month, date, and the year like this. Okay, then after this, we are also going to show the custom icon for getting to the previous month and for the next one. So if I click on this check-in, then you can see here we have got these icons, and you can actually customize these icons. Okay, so here I'm just going to go to this React icons, and let's search for carrot. Okay, and yeah, so this is the one that I would like to use. This one, rx caret right and rx caret left. So this is how you want to use it inside your application. So I'm just going to write previous arrow. Now this previous arrow is going to be rx caret left. Okay, you see it's going to be auto imported after I clicked on it. Okay, it's imported over here. Similarly, I want to customize the next arrow inside my calendar, so I'm going to write rx caret right. I hope this is clear. Okay, if you have any doubts or if you want to ask anything, just post it inside the chat. Okay, now after creating this instance of flat picker and also mounting it on this particular class, we can now start writing our JSX. So let me close this terminal. Okay, and then we'll focus only on writing the JSX for this particular component. So what we are going to do, first of all, I want to define a max width for the calendar. That means it should not exceed that width. Okay. So here on this div, I'm going to write class name max w and then 52. This means the max width of the calendar container can be 52. Okay. You can just hover over it and see what is the exact value in pixels. So it is 208 pixels. Okay. Then inside this div, I want to add another children. Okay, and this is going to have class name of relative. So we are making the position of this div as relative by adding this class name. Okay, now inside this class name we are going to have two things. Okay, so the first to be an input. So I'm going to write this input element. Let's I'm actually not going to pass this type value. Okay, it's going to be text by default, so you can just omit that. Let's start by styling it. So what we are going to do, first of all, I want to add this class name, which is form date picker. So let's write form date picker. Let me remind you that you cannot make any mistake over here. Make sure that these two class names are matching exactly. Otherwise, you won't see the calendar appearing on your screen. Okay. This is the important step, for identifying the node inside your DOM tree and then mounting on it. So please make sure you are doing it correctly. Then I want to customize the styling for the placeholder inside input, so we can just use this placeholder column, and I want the text placeholder to have a small text size, so I can just write text sm. Let's also give full width. Full width means 100% of the parent's width, so as much as you can take or your parent is going to allow you, you can take that width. Okay, then I want it to be rounded, you know having the border radius on all the four corners. So that is why I'm going to give this class rounded. Let me just correct the spelling, otherwise it's not going to work. Yeah, so when I say rounded, it's going to give it this 4 pixel border radius from all the different sides. Okay, then I want the background color to be transparent, so I can just write bg dash transparent. Okay, bg means background color and transparent already means background color will be set to transparent. Then let's also give padding in x direction of 5 and padding in y direction of 3. Now you might be wondering why I'm just, mindlessly writing these class names, because when I was developing this application, I have already, gone through it. Like, I need to, provide some padding in X direction, Y direction. I want this particular background color. So you just need to think about it. And right now, what I'm telling you is to, understand the purpose of these class names. Okay. Understand how we are styling it. So you can do it on your own in your other projects. Okay. Then font weight, it can have multiple values. Like if you just write font dash, then you will see all these suggestions. Like you can set the normal font weight, medium, semi bold, bold. For this case, I just want this normal one. And if you hover over it, you can see the font weight is going to be set to 400 because of this property. Okay. Then there are other properties that I want to, customize over here. So let me just write it quickly so that you don't get bored seeing me writing all these different class names. After setting the font weight to normal, let's actually take a look over here again in our preview. So right now you can see uh, this is appearing correctly over here, but the calendar has started appearing, but it's not styled like we wanted it to be. Okay, and also these icons are showing as object, but we actually want the left and right arrow keys over there. So we're going to figure it out, but let's first focus on this one. I want this input to have outline none. So I'm going to set outline none. Okay. Then I want transition on all properties. So I can just write transition. Okay. Transition. Then when it's in the focus state, I want the border color to be primary. Let me show you what I mean. So when I click on it, okay, it's going to have the border color primary. So just also let's set the active state. So I'm going to write in the active state too, I want the border color to be primary. Then for the okay, so this is like everything that we need for this particular input. After creating this input, we can just focus on the next thing, next children inside this input. But before that, I would like to add the placeholder. So this placeholder is actually going to be custom. Okay, so we are going to accept it as a prop to this component. So let's write over here placeholder as a prop, and I'm just going to pass that prop over here. So let's write placeholder. Okay, then I also want to add this property data class. Okay, so I'll set it to this string flat picker dash right. I suggest you do the exactly the same thing over here, okay, because this is important for the styling purpose. Then okay, so after this, I just want to place one more thing. You can see from this application that along with this check-in and check-out placeholder, we also have this calendar icon. Okay, so I want to place this calendar icon as well. Okay, at the end, and you can see we actually made the parent relative, and the reason is because now I'm just going to position an icon towards the right end. Okay, relative. I'm going to position it absolutely. So here I'm just going to write div. Then let's add class name. First of all, I wanted to have this absolute positioning. So let's write absolute. Okay. Then let's define the position from the left side to auto. That means it's going to be as far from the left as possible. Okay. From the right side, I'm going to define its position as 5. Okay. Then let's also make it flex and item center. Item center means uh, placing the icon horizontally towards the center line. Okay. I'm also going to set the insert to 0. Okay. After this, we can now place a calendar icon inside it. So let's just go back to our website, React icons, and I'm going to search for calendar. you can see this is the icon that I want to use, CI calendar. Let's just use this one. You can, select any other calendar as well. If you want, let's use this one, IO calendar outline. Okay. So I'm just going to write over here, IO calendar outline. And you see my editor is auto suggesting me. So now it's imported. And if I just go back to my application preview, then you can see the calendar is now appearing over here. But still, we are not able to see the placeholder because we are not passing it as a prop from the place where we are using it. So we can go to header.jsx, and in this place where we are using this component, we can just write placeholder. The first placeholder is going to be check-in, and the other one is going to be checkout. Okay, these are going to be string. Now we can just go back and see. Right now we can see check-in and checkout written over here. Let's also, customize this calendar. So I want this calendar size to be, bigger. What I'm going to do, again, go back to date picker, and over here inside this icon, let's pass this prop size. I'm going to set the size to 24. Let's see if it is sufficient or not. Yeah, so it's looking way better than before. But right now inside this div where we have this, button, search button along with these two inputs, I want to place them inside a row. So what I'm going to do, let's just, go back and see inside this header where we have this date picker and button. Right now we haven't, given it anything like flexbox or grid. So right now I want to do that part. So what we are going to do, first of all, let's make it into a flexbox. So here I'm going to write flex, and then let's make it flex row. Okay, so that we can see the all the content is inside a row. Then items property to center. Then I also want spacing between all the three childrens. Okay, don't think like since we have three children that is why I'm writing three. No, it's not that. I just wanted some space in the x direction, that is why I'm using this property space x, and then you can choose any of these values like space x4 2, okay, or any other higher value as you see it suits you. Okay, now after that you can see everything is in a line. Okay, but this icon is actually placed over here. I want to also do one more thing. Since this this search section is currently taking all of the available width, I want to set its width, max width, to fit content. Okay, so here what I'm going to do, I'm going to just write max w, which means max width, and then set it to fit. I already used this class one more time before, so you already know this means max width fit content. Now if you take a look at it, it's looking like this. But there is one issue over here right now, and the issue is uh, this box which has this box shadow along with these inputs. It is not appropriately at the center. What I mean is there is a grid, and inside grid the first children is this home away with icon. The second children is this input section, but it's not accurately placed at the center. So what we can do, you can see the parent is grid, and this is the first children, this is the second children. I want to place it exactly at the center, so I'm going to give it this property justify self center. Justify, let me correct the spelling again, justify self center. This is going to make sure that this input section is at the center horizontally. Now you can see it is looking exactly at the center horizontally. And there is one more thing that I want to fix right now, and that is fixing this icons. So for now I'm just going to use svg icons. Okay, inside this date picker.jsx where we have written this previous arrow and next arrow, either you can do one thing, you can just comment this out and see what happens, and there will be some default icons here. So if you can work with this, then it's fine. Otherwise I'm going to show you another way. It will work if we use svg icons over here. So I have just found this svg that I'm already using inside my project. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just paste it over here in place of this previous arrow. Okay, similarly we can do for the next one. And let me also tell you how you can get the svg code. Okay, don't worry, I'm not going to ask you. Also please make sure that it's a string, otherwise you'll get an error. So let me make both of these a string. Yeah. So you can just go on Google, okay, and search for SVG icons, and you can get the SVG code. If you want, I'll let me just do one thing. I'm going to add these two lines, or actually, let me just pick this flat picker configuration. I have selected that. Now I'm just going to go back to my repo, coding this home away. Inside this readme file, I'm just going to paste it. So let me just modify this file, and over here inside the editor, I'm going to scroll to the bottom, and let me just add a comment over here which says flat picker instance. You might not be able to see it because it's very small, but don't worry, I'll show it to you. Just wait a few seconds. I'm writing JavaScript over here, yeah, and let me just save the changes, commit these changes. Yes, commit them. And here, if you just scroll down inside this Tailwind, this readme file, then you will be able to see this flat picker instance heading. Okay, just search for it. It's a public repo. Just copy it from here. Okay, so this will be easy for you. Now there is still one more thing that is left, and the styling is not looking exactly the same, and that is happening because we haven't customized this flat picker, like to the very depth. We can do one more thing. We can use the class names and write some css inside global file. So right now I'm just going to go inside this global.css file. Okay, and over here, actually, we need some css code that I'm going to give it to you right now. Let me first copy and paste it over here. This is again pre-written, and there is no logic inside it. These are just simple CSS. Since this course is all about MERN stack, I don't want to get into the depths of CSS. I hope you already know these properties. Okay, what we are doing over here. It's just simple Tailwind. If you want a dedicated course on Tailwind, you can ask me in the comment section. Now, after we placed all these classes, you can see it's all related to flat picker. Okay. Let me also give you these styling rules again inside. You can see now our picker is looking exactly like we have in this application. Okay. So again, I'm just going to go back to my repository where I'm going to provide you the code base. And let me again make some changes to this README file. At the bottom, I'm going to now add some CSS for you. So I'm going to label it as CSS for flat picker. Okay, so CSS for flat picker. Let me just write some CSS over here. So you can just copy and paste it inside your code base. Okay, I'm going to commit the change, and I'm also going to show you that, yeah, this is present over here with this heading. Yeah, so if you just scroll down, you will find the CSS for flat picker. Copy this CSS code and paste it inside your global CSS file. So I hope that much is clear. Okay. Now we have created this thing as well. Let's do one more thing, then I'm going to take a break, and then we'll start our live stream again. I just want to create the third children over here that you can see. This is the third children that we want. Okay, there is still one thing left, which is this divider between the uh, inputs. Let's see how we can get that. So again, I'm just going to go back over here, and yes, let's just open up our code editor. Inside this header, where we have these three children's, check in, check out, and search, we want to add some property on this parent. Okay, so there is a property in Tailwind CSS which is called divide. Okay, and we want to make use of that property, so we can just simply write divide, and this divide property can be used either in x direction or in y direction or both. Okay, so we can just write divide and then in which direction, since we want division, or you can say a divider, okay, sort of a line in the x direction horizontally. So I'm going to write x and then the width. You can customize the width from these given values like 0 to 4 6. Okay, so I want width to be 2 over here, and you can also customize the color. Let me just show you if we got the divider. Yeah, this is the divider, but right now you can see it's thick and it's black color, so it's not looking good. We can just set a color for it, like this. We can write divide. Okay, and Here you can just write the color that you want to use. So stroke is a color from our theme. I already told you. So right now we are using that color and it's looking pretty okay, like it's better than before. Okay, the same color as we used in this border bottom. So now finally we can focus on building the third children of this grid, which is our profile section like this. And here what we want is, you can just take a closer look at it. We want two icons side by side, this hamburger icon along with this user circle icon. It's also going to have some roundedness. Then it also has some padding. It has a hover effect, because when I'm hovering over it, you can see something is changing. It has got padding. So these are our observations, and now we can create it. There is one more observation, which is the both the icons are sitting side by side, that means in a row. Okay, so now we are going to make use of all this information to create exactly that. After this div which contains our search section, now I am ready to create our third div. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to, let's actually create another component for it. I'm going to call it profile dropdown. So inside this components, I'm going to create a new file. Let's call it profile dropdown.jsx. Okay, now inside this, again, let's create our react functional component. First of all, yeah, so we got our react functional component. Now what I want is, I just want to use a button element. Okay, since that will be clickable, so I want to use a button element. Now inside this button, I just want to place two icons. To place those two icons, I can use some some kind of a flex box with direction set to row. So I'm going to make use of a div as a wrapper. Then let's actually make it a flex row. So I'm going to write flex and flex row, which means displays flex and direction of flex container is row. Okay, I hope you understand that. Then let's add some padding of 2 from all the directions. That means top, bottom, left, right. After that, I'm going to set the roundedness to full, which means a very high value for the border radius, so that it's looking like circular from the left and right. Then it's also going to have border. So border is going to give it border from all sides. And then to change the color of border, we can just write border and then the color name, border dash stroke. Okay, you can see the color is not visible, and I can tell you that this is it's because of the spelling mistake. I made the spelling mistake. Now it's corrected. There is also one more thing. When we when we are adding multiple children, that means two icons in a row, I want to set the items property to center, so that uh, they appear, the horizontal line going through their center coincides. That is what I mean. In order to put some spacing between the icons so that they are not sticking to each other, we can use this spacex property, and the value that will be best suited is spacex2. But you are free to change this value, set it to 4, 5, 6, whatever is suitable. Then here we want two icons. I'm not going to visit that react icons site again. I'm just going to tell you the name straight away. So the first icon we need is rx hamburger. Let me correct the spelling again. Hamburger menu. This is the one. You see it's auto imported over here on line number 2. And the second icon that we need is fa user circle from react icon slash fa. Both the icons are correctly imported over here. Let's also set the size. So the size for the first one will be 20, and for this fa user circle it's going to be 24. Okay, this is how I want the size. Then on this button, let's also add some class names. So the class name that I want over here is, first of all, when we hover over the button, I want the color to change. Okay, the icon color will change. So I'll set the icon color to text body. Let me also clear this thing, that body is actually a color. You can see inside our tailwind config css, this is the custom color that we have defined. So when I'm writing this thing, text dash body, then tailwind css is going to understand, okay, you want to use this particular color from the theme. Okay, that is why we can also see that color displayed over here. Okay, then let me also tell you one more secret about tailwind css, that you can also use your custom values. Let's say you want to use a color, or let's say you want to use some spacing over here, let's say 20 pixel, then you just need to use this square bracket and you can write your own value. Similar to that, You can also do that inside colors. So let's say you want the text color to be, some custom value, like some hexadecimal value that I'm going to write over here, 98A6AD. This is my custom color that I am choosing. It's not defined inside my theme, so I'm writing it manually. Okay. So by default, the text color will be this, but when we hover over the button, text color will change to the body color, which is coming from Tailwind configuration. Okay. So we can now test it out. If I just go back to the preview, now right now it's not even visible over here, and the reason is because we have created the component but we have not used it. So this profile drop down is created and it's getting exported as a default component, but we need to go back to the header, and inside the header we need to place this third children inside the grid. So over here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to write profile drop down. Okay, this is auto imported, you can see, from component slash profile drop down. Now if I just take a look, okay, right now it's looking like this, and I don't like this style. So what I need to do over here is I'm going to restrict its width first of all. So let's just go to our profile drop down, and over here I'm just going to write on this button max width content. This means take only max width fit, actually take only as much width as required by your content. Okay. Now you can see it's looking like this. It's almost perfect, but the position is not correct. That means it's placed at the start of the grid item, but I want it towards the end. So how we can achieve that? We are going to now wrap this profile drop down component inside another div. So I can just wrap it like this with a div, and on this div I'm going to now use some class name. So let me explain you the reasoning behind the class name that I'm going to use now. Since you see the parent is a grid and these are the three grid items, okay, and why it's appearing at the start right now is because it's appearing like there are three partitions, the first one, second one, and third one. It's actually coming, starting at this point because it's the starting of the third grid item. So I can just change that behavior by providing this class name to the wrapper around this profile drop down. So I'm just going to write justify self and justify self and and now you can see it's present over here, but still there is one more problem, that it's not appearing at the center horizontally. So for that, I'm just going to go to this grid, which is the parent, and I'm going to set the property item center, which means all the items should be present horizontally at the center. If we take a look at the application again, now it's looking perfect. So in this live stream, I covered this, thing where we created our whole header part. Now I'm going to, take a quick pause and I'll do again another live stream on the same day. I'll be teaching you how to create this kind of, you know, category section where we can select the categories. You can see we are going to implement this thing that we can switch between the categories. And also we are going to see how to get this kind of custom scroll bar behavior. Okay. So I hope you are excited for that, and please leave your comment. I'm going to, read all of them, and I'll also reply. So if you have any doubts, let me just tell you one more time that you can always, ask in the comment section, and it will be better if you can join our Discord group. And if you are on Telegram or Instagram, Facebook, you can also follow me there. Links are all given in the channel page. So that's it for this live stream. I'm going to end it now, and we can do another stream where we can, understand how to build this section, categories, and the properties card. So thank you very much for watching this one. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you in the next one.